Welcome to Beyond the Sale podcast. We believe that information without application leads to frustration. Sales is a profession, not just a job. And investing in your sales career is the key to driving success. Hey, I'm Ty Bello, and I am your host for today's podcast. And I am joined today by my friend and colleague for many years, Sean T.C. Welcome, Sean.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
It's good to have you here. Second time, second podcast, number 2. It's like we've done it forever, isn't it?
Yeah, really.
Feels good, though. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
We get to talk a lot about what we've done in sales as sales professionals and as coaches over the years, both from an inside and outside perspective.
Yeah.
And just let me share a little background for the folks of you, if you don't mind. And I'm going to give my perspective. You can add to it, embellish however you want.
Sure.
But Sean is a true sales professional. Sean is an entrepreneur. He and I met many years ago when he was an inside sales rep and I was working in that arena as a business coach. And Sean and I got to work together and have stayed in contact pretty close to the entire time. Yeah. Sean also does outside sales, and now with his entrepreneurial spirit has his own sales organization and works in a multiple of different arenas trying to help sales professionals and salespeople grow. How's that?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Nailed it. What a deal, huh? I've studied my student. This is a good thing. So today we want to talk a little bit about where we find ourselves right now. I mean, we're halfway through the year, right? And sales reps, we've always got to be looking ahead, further down the path, right? Filling the funnel, et cetera, et cetera. And so I've always referred to this, and I think I've referred to this way. This is halftime. So we're here at halfway through the year. We've got Q3 and Q4 ahead of us with Q2 behind us. And let's face it, this year, Q1 and Q2, 2020, will have an asterisk forever on the calendar of COVID-19, right? Just amazing. Just amazing. So as you think of this halftime, Sean, I know you're a big sports dude. Tell me, what do you think the parallels are between what the athletic team does when they go into their locker room at halftime and what we as salespeople need to do? I mean, what parallels can you draw from that?
Wow. The main thing is it's time to review what has worked, what hasn't worked, especially given the current environment, what needs to change, what do we need to pivot on, that kind of thing. It's time to review everything. And I do mean everything, especially with the current environment, because some things are going to have to, be put to the side for a while in order to adjust it and move forward. They may come back, but they may not.
Right. So when you look backwards like that at Q1 and Q2, you're going to look at clients that did give you business, and what else are you going to look at too?
I am going to look for spikes.
Okay.
And when they happened, try to figure out why they happened. And is that some sort of trend, or is it a one-time thing? Like, for instance, on the business side, had a spike in mask sales. Everybody understands why, but that's not necessarily going to be a permanent thing. It's going to be a true spike, up and down. So what could possibly be, paired with it on the back end to maintain that increase, if not a plateau? So you're adjusting for that spike, because one-time massive spike is never, it's good, but it's never great.
Right. No, I get that. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. So we're going to look back and we're going to look at spikes. We're going to look at clients that we got business from, obviously clients that we didn't get business from. In this current environment, halftime, we have to look at, where do we have accessibility? And that's something we're going to talk about here in a little bit. I mean, accessibility has got to be huge for every sales rep that's out there today. So I wonder what we can do, what sales reps can do. And I think we should talk about that here during today's podcast about halftime. So can this same philosophy, I'm not going to call it a philosophy maybe, but this same mentality of going into the locker room, can that transition over to a sales profession? And if so, how can I do that if I'm leading a sales team? What do I need to do?
Know your numbers, know how to acquire your numbers. And you're going to have to be able to look at multiple reports and lay them next to each other and say, okay, here's a spike here. Here's a drop here from this customer, but this customer spiked. So you have to be able to kind of mesh several data sets together to try and get a really good picture of what's truly going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. And I think you and I talked about this, and that was that we should get our team together virtually or otherwise,
Yeah.
and really do this kind of really a locker room kind of meeting, if you will,
Hmm.
and just sit down and go through all of that so that we can come up with a better game plan to come out into Q3 and Q4 to, again, we have to come up with a plan to get out there for Q3 and Q4, which in and of itself presents an entirely different set of dynamics, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it really does. Okay, so that's good. That's a start. What questions do you think people are asking right now that are out there?
One, of course, is what everybody wants everyone else's opinion, especially now with this new normal. So the main question I'm getting is, what are your thoughts on this new normal? And it really goes from a general, just what are your thoughts, and drills down a little bit further.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I guess I've come to the conclusion for salespeople. I'm going to say across the board that this really isn't a new normal. We're not in a new normal right now by any means. I don't even think we're close, to be honest with you. I don't think we'll see a new normal until a year from now, Q2, somewhere in Q2 of 2021. And let me reference that just a little bit. I believe that we are in a new environment right now. A new environment, but not a new normal, because this isn't normal. Today, on the day that we're recording this, the governor of Texas just closed down the state partially again because of their spike in COVID-19. So if this was the new normal, then this wouldn't be happening. We would be in phase 2 or phase 3 or wherever we're at, and we'd be going down our merry way until the fall, et cetera. But it's not a new normal. This is the new environment. Now, you can say normal means fluctuation. When people hear normal, though, I think people go to the definition of normal and they say, this is it. This is where we're going to land. And I don't believe that to be true. I think we still need to adapt. We still need to improvise. We need to be the Marines. We need to overcome all three of those things, because this will change again and again and again until, my guess for salespeople, until Q2 of next year at a minimum. Q2 of next year, because then I'm thinking vaccine will be out. Maybe that'll curtail us just a little bit. We will get to some level of normalcy, but I'm going to continue to use the phrase new environment and not new normal personally.
Yeah, I agree. For you, I'm calling this right now the period of pivoting.
Period of pivoting. I like that.
You have to almost adapt daily in some cases. And I know you're dealing with sales professionals across multiple disciplines. What are you hearing from them about this current environment? Where do they have access? Do they have access?
Yeah, number one problem, accessibility. Number one problem right now is accessibility. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in as a sales rep, you're having the same problem. And many sales reps, road warriors, the folks that are out there on a daily basis, weekly basis, et cetera, their entire dynamic has changed. You would think it would not have changed like years ago when we were working together on the inside sales component, right? You would think that the inside sales component hasn't changed. No, that too has changed, because now those people that were normally sitting at a desk, who you would be able to call and gain access to place an order, to ask how product delivery was, et cetera, to follow up, or whatever it might be, they're not at their desk. They might be in their home, still working out of their home, because they're only in phase 1 in the country. So even for an inside sales professional, the dynamic has changed and accessibility is different. And we've got to think differently about how we reach out, how we communicate. For me, I'm calling it outreach. There's sales calls and then there's outreach. Sales calls is the face-to-face or the phone calls that you make. The outreach now is becoming part of that email, that phone call, that follow-up, that texting, those handwritten notes, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And that's got to be as important as a face-to-face is anymore today.
Yep. And I mean, just to kind of piggyback off of that, with all these multidisciplinary professionals that you're dealing with, what do you see, or what is your takeaway in dealing with them as far as planning for Q3, Q4?
Yeah. Well, I believe that this, and I'm not trying to prognosticate on what is going to happen with this public health emergency or the pandemic. I'm not, but I'm a student of history. And if history is going to repeat itself, this thing is going to continue to rear its ugly head all the way through the fall, without question. Are we prepared? Are we prepared? Were the folks in Texas today, the salespeople, the businesses, were they prepared today for the governor to pull back just a little bit? He didn't completely shut it down, but he pulled back just a little bit. Yeah. Were they prepared today for that? Well, are we prepared for this same type of thing to happen? Again, this new environment, maybe a few more times before we get to November, but maybe in November, because if you're a student of history, you know that this, the Spanish flu, as they called it in 1918, had a spring hit, pretty heavy, devastating, unbelievable, but then it really took off terribly again in November. Yeah. So are we ready? If this thing does that, are you ready? So here's what I'm telling sales reps. You've got about 120 days. Right now, July 1's just around the corner, 2 days away. July 1, you've got July 1 through the end of the end of the third quarter, the beginning of the first quarter, end of October. You've got that much time to plant seeds, develop relationships, develop this new environment that we find ourselves in right now, making sales calls by phone or texting or emails or using platforms, the social media platforms that are out there, which we're not going to name any of those, but you've got to figure out what that looks like, because you've got 120 days to captivate them so that if this does come back and hit us hard, you can survive. Your products can be delivered, et cetera, et cetera. Your services can be delivered and all. But you as a sales professional, the voice, the face, the interaction person for your company and your products, you've got to have a 120-day aggressive plan to make contacts with existing and still prospect. You cannot stop prospecting. You've got to continue to prospect. And this is going to help you grow. It's going to help them grow. And might I add this, you've got to develop that plan now.
Yeah, yeah. And one other question here is, in your opinion, how are we at Team at Work helping sales professionals today with both transitioning and accelerating their plans moving forward?
Yeah, well, you know that we developed our plan. We developed our plan, you and I did, this year based on COVID-19. We have changed the way we do things. We are doing more meetings socially than we've ever done before. I'm not traveling like I normally had. So you and I took a step back, took about an hour meeting and then a few follow-up emails and so forth, and said, this is, for us to be successful, this is what we've got to do. So the same thing for the sales reps. But what we're able to do is to come alongside of them, the sales rep, in such a way that we help them develop and execute a sales process that works. A sales process that works. One that we have now worked on and worked with for these past 20 years as Team at Work. But now with this new dynamic, this new environment that we find ourselves in, we've modified it and tweaked it. And we have several customers. By the way, the folks that we're coaching right now in the month of June, every one of them have seen an increase in their sales, and we don't take credit for that. It's them. They're the boots on the street. But we believe, without a shadow of a doubt, it is the process by which that we utilize and we teach them and we coach them and we help execute with them that has made the difference for them these past several weeks during this public health emergency.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Sean, you brought up a good point there. So let's kind of close this out, wrap this up a little bit, but why don't you kind of tell the folks a little bit about some of the different services that that we can provide them through Team at Work?
Sure. Well, and I'm going to go along how we've modified them as well. Because awesome. For instance, there's coaching. And of course it would be, we come alongside of a rep. Well, not exactly alongside anymore. So we're doing personal one-on-one coaching. And I mean, that's really hands-on, but as much hands-on as we can be right now. But that's helping them develop their process and execute on the plan. And with other businesses as well, we're looking at, how are they engaging their referral sources and their local communities on social media as well. So there's coaching there that we offer. Other opportunities that we have, or other tools that we put out, is our Monday morning pep talk. That's helping everyone out there jumpstart their week the best way that we can and assist them to do that. It's motivation, inspiration, but there's always something that they can take away on Monday and execute the rest of the week with. So that's great. And then, of course, we are doing the, assessment of the Q3, Q4 plans to help accelerate the sales moving forward. Have you adjusted? Do you have your preparedness plan for what if things spike, come back down, spike again? So we're looking at that and looking at all the avenues of what to plan for, but how to develop a process moving forward in this, as I say, period of pivoting. And then, of course, there's also the Team at Work Sales Boot Camp. Now, I've gone through this myself. This is an event. Ty takes you through, how can I say this? I don't want to give too much away, because it is really, truly an experience that you have to go through, but it touches on everything: team building, sales, planning, developing your whole process, and it's hands-on. Now, of course, we're going to tweak that, but I think that's something that you may have to see for yourself.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of virtual boot camps, sales boot camps coming up here in the next couple of weeks, and we're excited about that. And we're hopeful that by Q4 of this year, we're back on the road again, and we've got a couple of sales boot camps that are going to be out and about across the country, and we're looking forward to engaging those folks there. Well, Sean T.C., I think this is the end of our time today, buddy, but this has been good. I think this is a good halftime message for our sales friends that are out there. And Sean, thank you for your insight, your information, great questions, good dialogue as always. We really appreciate you and all that you do for our clients and for us, for Team at Work. You've just been a great asset to our organization. We're really appreciative of you.
Yeah, thank you.
And for you, our listeners, thank you so much for listening to Beyond the Sale podcast, where we believe that information without application leads to frustration. Sales is a profession and not just a job. And investing in your sales career is key to driving success. Please, friends, make today and make this week productive and not just active. Bring content, not calories, to your clients. Sales reps, bring calories. Professionals, bring content. You have a choice. Remember what we said earlier, about 120 days. How will you function over these next 120 days? You do have a choice, my friends. So until the next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and God bless you. We'll talk to you real soon.